Hello, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful interview that I'm looking forward to conducting today of Peter Rosenthal. We are glad you could join us. Peter is the co-president of Rosenthal Capital Group. I have known Peter for many, many years, and I am really delighted to be able to show him off to you today. So, Peter, this is going to be hopefully a very personal and a very productive interview. Here, Peter, we are really celebrating your support for music in schools, but I'd love to get your own story. Many people know you as a star in the finance field, but did you play an instrument growing up? And if so, how did that discipline, the practice of music, shape the way you look at the balance sheet or business deal today? Please tell us a little bit about that.
Janice, let me just start by saying how great it is to be here with you today. As you mentioned in that very kind introduction, you and I have been friends for quite some time and have worked on charitable endeavors in the past. So it's great to have the opportunity to work with you again and to get involved with education through music. As far as my background with music, I did in fact play an instrument as a child. I played the piano. I started taking lessons when I was 6 years old. We were very fortunate to have a piano actually in our home, so my parents had an instructor come once a week to teach me. And she was a very accomplished concert pianist herself, so I always wondered what she thought of my attempts to play music. But I will say it was one of the highlights of my childhood. And as far as how it impacts me today in conducting business, I would just say that taking on something like a musical instrument, stepping outside your comfort zone, understanding the importance of discipline, and seeing how practice translates into performance, absolutely translates to anything in life, really, and certainly in the business world, where perseverance is important. Being willing to be creative, take chances, all of those attributes, I think, can certainly come from the practice of an instrument as well.
Wonderful to hear. So I share that with you. I studied to be a musician, but did not make it. I wasn't good enough. But it brought me to education through music, and we're trying to help students really develop their talents and their self-confidence, which I think is another thing that music education does. So let me ask you something else. Rosenthal Capital Group has an incredible 87-year-old legacy of supporting businesses and entrepreneurs. From a business perspective, why is it vital for leaders like yourself to move beyond the traditional charity, so to speak, and view nonprofits like Education Through Music as an essential investment in New York City's workforce?
Sure. Well, let me just say, yes, Rosenthal Capital Group, and we just rebranded, by the way. We were known as Rosenthal and Rosenthal for our 87-year history. We just went through a rebrand. But we've been a part of the business community in New York for a very, very long time, and a part of the broader fabric of the New York community as well. So I would start by saying, first of all, I think it's vital for business leaders and the leading firms in the city to give back. I think it's, frankly, a moral obligation, putting aside, the return on investment that you might get from doing that. Business leaders and businesses in general, benefit tremendously from the vibrant community here in New York. And if we want that to continue, we have to give back. And supporting nonprofits generally it's just the right thing to do. But I think if you think about it in terms of the business benefit, investing in the future workers, the future business leaders of New York is certainly a smart investment. And I would also point out, I think education through music in particular is a great way to do that because it instills some of the attributes that we would want in our future employees and future leaders.
So, music also provides some soft skills, such as collaboration, focus, critical thinking. Do you see those same soft skills, so to speak, as valuable assets when you're looking at the entrepreneurs and companies that you have invested in?
Absolutely. those skills that you identified are absolutely beneficial. And I would add that the creativity and willingness to take chances that I think participating in music can provide is also a valuable skill. Um, and I think that's something that sometimes is overlooked. We think about just the discipline and the practice, but it's also the creativity and the willingness to fail, right? The courage. I do remember back when I played the piano, my piano recitals, for example, and how nervous I would be before a recital. Yeah, but then how accomplished I would feel afterward, and knowing that I took a chance. And I think that's something that I've applied throughout my life, and something that young people can apply in their lives.
So I'm going to pivot to another issue right now and ask you a little bit about your being honored at our gala this year on May 18th, which is really a testament to your commitment to equity, which is what education through music is all about, giving underserved students the opportunity to really learn music as a core subject. What was the aha moment, so to speak, that made you realize music education was a cause you wanted to champion personally?
So late last summer, our good friend Karen Bromley actually reached out to me, and she talked to me about the work you were doing at Education Through Music. I was not really familiar with the organization, but she provided me some of the background and asked if I would consider being honored at the gala this year. And just before we got off the call, she asked me a very interesting question. She said, "Peter, has your life been touched by music?" And that was the moment, I think, where I realized I really wanted to get involved, because what I thought of immediately was not my piano playing as a child, actually, but my two boys who both sing. And they had yeah, my two boys have beautiful voices. They both sang in their high school glee clubs. And my older son actually went on to sing a cappella in college, and he became the music director of his a cappella group. And it just gave us so much joy to hear our boys sing. They clearly got their singing voice from their mother. I do not sing well, but it's just been such an amazing experience watching them sing throughout high school and college. And it was at that moment that I realized, wouldn't it be wonderful to provide those opportunities for other children that might not otherwise get that chance?
Well, that's so interesting because you are really becoming a role model by being at the gala to others, a role model to people in industry as well as to students. And yesterday, I know you went to visit a classroom, and I wondered what you would say to a young student in the Bronx, which is where we have a lot of students, or Brooklyn, or even Queens, where you were, who love music and is thinking about, who loves music and who is thinking about how it would impact their future.
Sure. Yeah. So yesterday, actually, I had the opportunity to visit a class at PS 206 in Queens. It was a great experience. The students there, fourth and fifth graders, were so excited to be in that classroom and to participate in that choir. I was really impressed, first of all, with the level of instruction. The teacher was phenomenal. And the students were they're so brave and challenging themselves. I got to participate a little bit with them. I have to admit I was a little shy. They put me with the soprano group, and one of the little girls in the class turned to me and she said, "Are you normally a soprano?" And I said, "No, I'm normally a tenor." But it was really fun, really an amazing experience. And I guess what I would say to them, if I had the chance to spend more time with them, would just be to stick with it. Music can bring so much joy to your life. It can also bring skills, but it can also just make life more beautiful. And you could see um, how excited they were to be in that room. It was the end of the day. They were probably tired from a full day of classes. But I think in today's world where we're so, I would say, addicted to technology, perhaps, music offers an opportunity to step back and decompress a bit and do something to enrich your own life. And I would encourage them to continue to pursue that.
You know, it's interesting. I may be asking you a question that's a little bit repetitive, but if you're standing on the stage of the gala right now, looking at a room full of guests, what is the truth about our students that you would want to convey to them, to every person in the room, that they could take home and really think about?
I guess what I would say is that these students are incredibly bright, incredibly smart, and really caring, and that I think supporting an organization like Education Through Music really brings out the best in these students. And isn't that really what we want, right? Just to give them an opportunity to be productive and successful. And I really think that the the avenue of music in particular um, is incredibly powerful. I think it translates to other areas of life. It's something that they can take within their whole lives, not just when you're in that classroom. You could tell, and also I could see how excited they were to perform. They were talking about the upcoming gala. They were looking forward to it. They were really, really looking forward to it, and you can see how hard they're working because they want to do the best they can.
You know, we always say that the joy and the pride and the sense of accomplishment that these kids feel really can make a difference in their academics as well, their attitude to school. So it's really a wonderful thing that you're describing, and so very accurately. So I'm going to ask you now about a different um, group of constituents. If you could give a piece of advice to other business leaders about why they should walk through the doors of a New York public school and support these students, what would it be?
I would say that I think as business leaders, sometimes we tend to think of ourselves as isolated. We think of the business community as separate from the broader community that we live in. And I think walking through the doors of a school like that reminds you that you're part of something much bigger and you have a connection, and you should try to deepen that connection. Um, Frankly, through your leadership and through your giving, because I think that we in the business community do have the resources to make a difference. And I would encourage everyone to find, the cause that matters to them. I would obviously champion education through music, but more broadly to simply engage with the broader community.
So that's very interesting, and I'm going to ask you an even broader question, about the broader community. As a lifelong New Yorker, we often talk about the city's infrastructure in terms of transit and real estate. But what role do you believe the cultural infrastructure, our schools and our arts, plays in keeping New York the most vibrant city in the world?
Oh, I absolutely agree that that's really the secret sauce of New York. We talk about New York as the financial capital of the world, which I believe it is, but it really is the arts, entertainment, education, science. New York leads in so many ways, and the business community can ensure through its resources that all those other aspects of city life that are so important continue to thrive.
We agree with that, and I think that broader message is often lost on many people who are decision makers in the city and who have to allocate funds. So yesterday, when I was in Albany, the question was, what would you want to give up, reading or math or whatever, for more time and resources for the arts? But I think that there's an important balance that we need to achieve. And I wondered if you could speak a little bit to what those balances are from your wonderful experience in both the fields of business and your appreciation of the arts.
Well, when you say balance, you mean as far as a trade-off? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and in terms of a balance in the schools.
Well, I would like to think that we could have it all, right? I'm sure there are many who, as you point out, would say, well, the priorities are English and mathematics, and art is a luxury. I would argue it's really not a luxury, and for many of those students that I saw yesterday, it might have been actually the highlight of their day and the most impactful part of their day. And to an earlier point that you made, there were so many connections between the arts and the sort of quote unquote academic classes that students study. And I could actually see the students making those connections, referencing, a book they were reading in an English class and noting that the lyrics of the song were very similar to the story they had just read. So I just think that the arts enriches people's lives so much. We shouldn't really look at it as an either or. I think you really have to try to have it all.
We certainly agree with you on that. So, if you have any other thoughts, I just want to say how much we look forward to your being honored, and how much we thank you for accepting that recognition. And I think we're lucky people to know you, Peter. Thank you.
It's very kind of you. I am very excited, looking forward to the gala. I'm very honored. I think the teachers, frankly, deserve all the honor for the work they're doing. It's really tremendous.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, and have a good day. And for those who are listening in, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you will continue to be part of the City Biz programs, and wishing you also a very good day. Thank you.